Visit Avery.com, Avary, for the most up-to-date news and information on Team Avery.
Avery, 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 Avery,
This is the Gala Show. I'm your reporter on the beat, Gala Avery. On this episode, you may know my guest from his music videos for artists like Little Xan, Orville Peck, Bastille, Dylan Francis, Churches, and Diplo, as the director of the 8-part docuseries More Than an Athlete, or from the documentary Give Me Future, all about what it's like to be a young person living in Havana, Cuba in 2016. His newest film, Skincare, starring Elizabeth Banks, is in theaters starting August 16th, and you know I'll be having a chick flick day with my mom watching that one. Today on The Gala Show, I've got Austin Peters on the mic. Hey, Austin.
Hey, Gala.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. So before we bring up the topic for today, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your all-time favorite music video?
That's a tough question, but one that I've thought about a few times. And I think that just like movie lists, that probably changes all the time. But the one that just popped into my head right now is probably the Johnny Cash Heart video that Mark Romanek did.
Mark Romanek is one of the best music video directors of all time, and I feel like he doesn't get like enough of a shout out.
Yeah.
But he's so good.
Yeah, he's maybe the best at shooting an artist ever. Like
You think maybe the best?
well, certainly at shooting an artist, and you know, different people I think do different things, and you know, Chris Cunningham videos are insane because they're like sci-fi movies that blow your mind in one little in one little 3-minute interval, but you don't usually see the artist. But if you want to like see artists performing, if it's Janet Jackson and Got Till You Gone, or Got Till It's Gone, or you know, I'm trying to think of another really amazing Mark Romanek video, which I'm not thinking of.
It's okay. It's easy to blank.
Zillions.
Well, my favorite music video director is Michel Gondry. Like,
Sure.
For sure, because Everlong is like my all-time favorite music video. But then he also did Sugar Water for Chibo Matto. I'm not sure if you're a Chibo Matto fan.
Yeah.
But I am, because I love this video game called Jet Set Radio Future.
Yeah.
And they had their music in that. So like as a kid, I used to listen to them all the time.
Wow.
And then I found out that he did both of those. And I'm like, oh my God, he does all the music videos I love.
Yeah, well, I remember when I was growing up, they used to play Everlong on MTV all the time, and it scared the shit out of me. But I also was like, this is sort of funny, like when Taylor Hawkins, R.I.P., starts playing drums.
With the woman outfit, when he like jumps out of the woman outfit.
He's the wife, and then he's playing the drums, and I just remember Dave Grohl's hand like becoming so big.
And the big telephone.
Yeah.
I think that music video perfectly captures exactly what like a dream nightmare feels like. But my favorite part is like when he goes back to sleep to like go back into the dream to like save his wife.
I'll tell you, my favorite Michel Gondry video right now is Hyper Ballad by Bjork.
Oh my God, all of his Bjork videos are so good.
That one is so good. It like blows my mind every time I watch it. And that's also probably my favorite, or one of my favorite Bjork songs.
Yeah. Oh my God. She has this version of like I Love to Love, like when she's a little kid playing it. And I used to listen to that on repeat, and it's so good because it's her as like a little tiny child. Like, I love to love.
Yeah.
Love my baby. I love that. I think music videos, like you said, when I was younger, I used to like Toxic was my very first music video I remember on MTV.
It's a great video.
It's iconic. Like when she's like in the air as like the stewardess and stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to actually buy music videos off of iTunes. Like way back then. I used to, before YouTube had all the music videos, I would buy them, and I would buy Beyonce music videos and watch them.
Yeah, I definitely did that too, for sure.
But like, where are they now? I don't know.
Yeah, well, music video is sort of this weird art form that where it exists has kind of, changed so many times over the course of our lifetime. Like it used to be on television, then it definitely was not on television anymore.
I need to buy them on iTunes. Literally, where are all my music videos, iTunes? Like, where did they go?
Yeah.
Do I still have them? I don't know.
No, it's just taking up space on your hard drive, but you can't watch them. But they're
You're
locked.
not allowed. They're locked. You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Now, as always, my guest gets to bring their topic to the mic. So, Austin, why don't you tell us what your topic is and why you decided to choose it?
My topic today is going to be Sunshine Noir, and I chose it because I like to talk about movies, and this is a genre of films that I feel doesn't have a very clear set of rules that everybody agrees upon. So I can just talk about what it means to me, and maybe you'll like some of those movies and maybe you won't, but at least I'll have 30 minutes to talk about it. But before we get into the topic, it's time for a commercial break.
Back by popular demand, the Video Archives merch store is up and running. Get your favorite t-shirts, hats, notebooks, stickers, and more at videoarchivesmerch.com. You know me. I write all my notes in the Notes on Cinema notebook, the Gala edition, of course. Check out videoarchivesmerch.com to get yours today. Hey, thanks so much for being a loyal listener. If you want to keep up with me off mic, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Gala Avery.
And we're back.
You heard it here. We are talking about Sunshine Noir. I have 30 minutes on the clock and our time starts now. Okay, I'm so excited that we're talking about Sunshine Noir. I had to hold this back before, but it's actually one of my favorite genres.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. Well, then you can take it.
Well, no, yeah, I'm going to just talk for 30 minutes. No, I'm kidding. No, because noir is one of my favorite genres. And I love that noir has kind of evolved over the years. And like we have film noir, we have just neo-noir, crime noir. And we also have this thing called neon noir.
Right.
Which is kind of like Sunshine Noir, but not quite. So,
yeah.
Okay, what got you interested in Sunshine Noir?
Well, when I was working on skincare, I think a question that a lot of people asked was, well, what is it? What is the genre? What kind of movie is it? And sometimes they would ask that after reading the script because, it's a thriller, but it's funny. And, people just always wanted to know. And I think, one of my friends, when he read it, said, oh, it's a Sunshine Noir. And when we started saying that, people started understanding that really clearly, even though they didn't necessarily know what a Sunshine Noir was, because just those two words together, I think, create an image in your mind.
Yeah, and it's also kind of funny because, like, when you think about Sunshine, when you think about noir, they're two opposite things.
Right.
It's like you think of, like, the rain and, like,
exactly.
the crime and, like, the filth and the dirt of the streets. And then you think about Sunshine. You think about, like, woo, we're partying and it's summertime and it's all fun. But that's, like, a very specific thing. And one thing I kind of noticed about Sunshine Noir in general is it's almost an LA genre.
Yeah, I think that there is certainly a school of thought, and I've Googled this numerous times and read differing opinions, but I think that there is a school of thought, and I think for the purpose of this conversation, seeing how we were both born at different times at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica.
Shout out to St. John's.
That we talk about it as in the context of Los Angeles, because obviously I think that in a certain way, there's a certain school of thought that to be a Sunshine Noir truly has to be about Los Angeles or set in Los Angeles in some way. And I don't disagree. I mean, I love Body Heat and I love Florida Noir. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so rich, and that's obviously very sunny.
It's like sticky noir.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
It's
exactly.
humid. It's humid noir.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that I love about Sunshine Noir is that, like, this idea of this sort of darkness, this very deep darkness that then is brought out or is happening in this, like, bright, hot sunlight that is giving all the characters and the audience heat stroke. And so I think that I also think that Sunshine Noir to me feels like reality is always a little bit on tilt. Like, you're not sure the point of view character, if you can trust what they're saying, or if
they're unreliable narrators typically.
Exactly. And so I think that feels very LA, where everyone is so isolated in their sort of own experience and you're never sure what the actual truth is, that feels like it's actually a really strong reflection of the city. And that's why I think some of these movies, which I made a list of, but just to jump around, for example, Mulholland Drive, which whenever you look up Sunshine Noir, everyone says Mulholland Drive.
It's like the top of the list.
Yeah, that's like everyone agrees that that's one. And in that movie, you have no idea what's going on or what is happening.
I heard someone describe it as bright but guilty.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That's a really good way, because that also is kind of Los Angeles. Like,
Totally.
We're bright, but we're also kind of guilty about all these, like, we're the city of lost angels.
Totally. And I think it has these sort of tonal and mood shifts, which is very Sunshine Noir to me, where I think in more classic noir, you kind of always have this, it has this very noir feeling. And when we think about noir from the 40s, it's this sort of like, tough guy realism, hard boiled, sort of detective stories. And I feel in Sunshine Noir, there's a lot more these like weird erratic mood shifts of comedy and then also things that are very scary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I put together my little list, so I can't wait to see how we overcross about our Sunshine Noir.
Oh, I didn't know you came prepared. I didn't know you had a list.
I have my list. I have my Sunshine Noir list.
Wow. Yeah.
But Mulholland Drive actually was not on my list, which is kind of weird.
Wow.
I don't know why. Because when I looked it up, I was on Letterboxd.
Right.
And they did not include it like at the top. The first one they included was Chinatown.
Yes. And Chinatown, I think, is a Sunshine Noir, but Chinatown is hard to talk about because it's so towering that
It's
like,
so Chinatown.
Yeah.
It's just Chinatown, Jake. It's just Chinatown.
You just can't. I'm like, I feel
Like, where do you begin?
Yeah, it's hard. It's like hard for me to say, oh, that's a Sunshine Noir, because it's sort of just like one of the greatest movies ever made and the greatest screenplay.
I 100% agree. And also, it is a true LA story about the Owens Water Valley crisis. And like, we're kind of going through that again right now with like the whole land grab. So it's really interesting. Like, if you are interested in LA history and you haven't seen Chinatown, like, what are you doing? Go watch China right now. Pause this. Go watch Chinatown.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
Absolutely.
What else is on your list?
What else is on my list? I'm looking which one. I thought another interesting one was The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, which is the John Cassavetes movie as a Sunshine Noir. Because he doesn't really make genre movies, and then that movie is a genre movie. And the whole time you're kind of with this amazing Ben Gazzara who's sort of drunk and he's working at his sort of strip club burlesque show, and though it feels really sleazy and it feels really noiry, he also is a real artist, and you like empathize with him because like he really cares about this so much.
That is so true. Okay, another one I have, To Live and Die in LA.
To Live and Die in LA is a great one for sure.
Because it's like Friedkin almost at his, not at his best because he's so good and everything. But it's so good. So good. So fun. And it shows the city of LA just really well.
I think so, definitely. I think that's a really exciting one. I also think about how when I think about LA movies, that the ones that I think are really canonical are the ones that get the geography right.
Yeah, you know what? I talked to Larry Karaszewski about LA movies, and we talked a little bit about geography. And also, like, one thing I love about an LA movie in particular, which I've said before, is that they are anthropological artifacts, because you can say, oh, that street goes to this street, goes to there, and like I can walk those same streets. And when you're from LA, and especially on reality TV shows, when they cut to like the Hollywood sign and the beach, and then here you're like, those are like 10 different places. That's not next to each other. It's not a neighborhood. And it makes everyone think that like, oh, I can just like come to LA and do all these things in one day. And I'm like, no, you'll be in the car all day. You'll see the 101. Yeah. You'll see the 405.
You can do one of those things.
Yeah.
You can't do like trying to do two things in two different parts of town in LA is like, that is a big day.
That's a huge, even for me who lives here.
Yeah. Another one on my list was, which I know you have mixed feelings about, but The Long Goodbye is of course like,
oh my God. Yeah. I have mixed feelings about The Long Goodbye. I just think it's so boring. Sorry.
I love that. I think it's so, what I like about it is that it's, what makes it Sunshine Noir to me is, besides that it's, like so Philip Marlowe, and it is in this weird heightened reality that is just so stoned, and it just like it's not real, but it doesn't make sense. But he's sort of Elliot Gould's Philip Marlowe is so passive about it, and so doesn't give a shit that like, hey, there's a house full of naked women next to him that are always asking him to come over. He's just worried about his cat. Yeah, he's like, I have to go buy cat food, and that feels so.
I knew someone who went and stayed in that apartment and had never seen The Long Goodbye, and the apartment had a cat, and they put on The Long Goodbye because they're in the apartment, and literally they started feeding the cat as The Long Goodbye scene started, and they're like, oh my God, I'm in The Long Goodbye. Wow. And they had like a really trippy time watching it. That movie, the music cues are so good in that. The fact that they have that same theme that kind of runs throughout. And I also like, is it dubbed? Like, do they do post dubbing in it? Because it feels like they're post dubbing him, to me at least.
Maybe. I don't know. I know that the whole like Altman sound mix thing is always that it's, you're like leaning in being like, what did he say? I don't,
Yeah,
you know.
and it feels like you like almost you're in a dream. And
Yeah.
I think these Sunshine Noir also have that like kind of dream-like quality where you're not really quite sure, as you said, like you're not really quite sure what's going on, and like you're kind of going in and out of all of these things. But okay, here's another one. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a great Sunshine Noir, and especially because that half of it takes place in Toontown, so
Which is LA.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is totally Hollywood. I mean, the whole allegory for like what Toontown is, and just the fact that movie, it's like packaged basically almost as a kid's movie. I mean, I saw it when I was a kid, so I would consider it a quote unquote kids movie, even though it's like an adult film for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just so good, and it's like a good gateway, I think, into Sunshine Noir for someone.
Yeah, and I think that it's funny. I saw it when I was a kid too, and when you see it, or when I saw it, my reaction was, this is the best movie I've ever seen in my life, and I need to watch it every single day from now on. And I did for probably a year.
Yeah, and Just Like a Rabbit, like, is so, like, oh my God, like, va va boom.
Iconic, yeah.
You know, she's iconic, and then furthermore, the fact that she, like, loves Roger genuinely
Yeah.
is the best part, because you'd think, like, oh, like, she's, like, the hot girl, and, like, how can she, like, love the goofy rabbit? And it's like, no, she, like, legitimately loves him.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so good.
Another one for me is that I watched a bunch when we were editing skincare is Steven Soderbergh's movie, The Limey.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that one.
That's really good. I think it's right after Out of Sight, and Sarah Flack was the editor, and it's Terrence Stamp.
Oh, really?
And it's about him coming to LA to find out who his daughter dies, and she seems like she was killed, and he's a gangster who wasn't in her life because he was in prison the whole time. And he flies in from the UK. He's an English gangster,
like
and he comes to Hollywood to like avenge her death. And she was dating some like sleazy record executive.
Oh my God.
And
That's so LA.
it is so fun, and it is so trippy.
Because I think my favorite Soderbergh, he did Behind the Candelabra, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is like my favorite of his. I'm not like a huge Soderbergh fan, except for Behind the Candelabra, I am obsessed with.
Behind
like,
the Candelabra is great.
Like, I'm obsessed with that movie. I don't know what it activated inside of me, but I have like an affinity for it. I can't even tell you why.
I know, it's such an interesting and strange movie, and it was so interesting too that was his like retirement movie when he briefly retired.
I like how you like did the air quotes because you're like, yeah, he's not retired.
Well, he didn't retire. He retired very briefly. Then he made The Nick, which I also love, and then now he's making lots of movies all the time, which is great. I'm grateful. Keep doing it.
It's funny. It's like when directors say they're going to retire, like Quentin says he's going to retire. And I almost feel like an artist can never retire because like you have this desire in you to make art. Miyazaki is another really good example of this kind of director who has said for like 20 years now that he's going to stop making movies. And then of course, all these different things have happened where he like says, I can't stop because of XYZ, but like, he's never going to stop.
I hope neither of them do.
I hope none of these directors do. I think, yeah, okay, sometimes there is a point where a director kind of, okay, you're like, you can't make movies as well as you did. Either the art form has changed or you've become infirmed, etc. But I don't know. I kind of like some of their new movies, some of these directors.
Yeah, and I'm happy to just go experience it. Even if I don't love the movie, I'm just feel grateful that I get to experience another one. You know?
That's how I feel too.
There's so many directors that I wish their filmography was longer. You know, that it's so sad that it was cut short.
Even if they have a stinker. Sometimes the stinkers get better with age. They ripen like a fine wine.
Totally. As you can't really judge a film until like 5-10 years after.
15, 20, 30, 50, who knows?
Which also, you know, when I did skincare, I gave, you know, certain department heads lists of movies, and I was just looking at it again and was kind of like going through what movies I gave to who. And at first I was really self-conscious about it, but then people started asking for it, and it ended up being really helpful. And I will definitely do that in everything I ever make.
I think that's amazing. I think that, and I like that you also did like department specific lists. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was different. It was different for everyone. Certainly for like the camera department, and then in post when we were doing color and finishing, we looked at really specific things. Mm-hmm. But then when we were doing like the production design, looked at, you know, different references, and costumes looked at different references, but also there's some that were just across the board, you know.
Which ones were across the board?
Sort of maybe a Sunshine Noir, but also maybe not. But an LA movie with Star 80 we talked about all the time.
Yeah, and Star 80 is so like specifically the look of it is so specific. And I mean, I've talked my out of my wazoo about Star 80 for so long, but it's also a movie that kind of haunts you. And it's like it stays
So
with you.
haunting, yeah.
That's the thing about it is like when you first see it, you're like, oh, okay, I watched this movie, it was really good. And then like the more that you sit with it, the more you're like, this is really intense, and like this is also crazy this really happened. And then you have all this like supplemental information about it now because I mean it was like the Playboy, it was also the connection with Chippendales and the connection with all these different things.
The Chippendales thing is crazy.
The Chippendales thing is crazy.
But it's just so much darkness, and that's
Yeah.
what's so crazy, and that is in this very sunny place of Los Angeles and Hollywood. And I think the other thing that's sort of makes Star 80, you know, Sunshine Noir adjacent is that because it's Bob Fosse, it's like so dynamic and it's so poppy, even though it is about the absolute darkest thing following the absolute most challenging character that you hate, you know.
But you also kind of love in a
Yeah,
weird,
but
terrible way. It's
yeah.
disgusting, but it's like he does it so good. Eric Roberts, he just is so good as Paul Snyder. It's Paul Snyder, right?
Yeah.
So one thing though, I think though, to make Star 80 into a Sunshine Noir, it's interesting because all these Sunshine Noir, like you have someone investigating,
Right.
and you don't really have
That's
that
true.
investigation in Star 80.
That's
so it's like
true.
if the murder occurred and they were investigating, kind of like looking back and like doing the research on like why did he do it or like who did it, like that would make it into Sunshine Noir.
Right. That's interesting. Is it the investigator that I guess that's the noir element?
Because I think all of these movies that we've kind of touched on thus far, and then a few of the other ones, I mean, like, there's a few on my list though I don't think actually have like like Repo Man. Repo Man gets kind of put into the Sunshine Noir category
For
a
sure.
lot, but I don't think Repo Man has like an investigator investigating a crime, does it? It's been so long since I've seen it.
No, it doesn't. But there is a mystery, you
Yeah, there's
know.
a
And I
mystery to
guess
it.
and that's the thing is in Star 80, there's not really a mystery. You're just watching this really horrible thing happen.
Yeah.
But it's set to amazing music and with really amazing visuals.
And you know it's coming too,
Yeah.
because you know the story. It took everyone by storm. Also, like True Romance gets put into the Sunshine Noir category a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it doesn't. Again, it's like you're kind of following these two people, and like you're like following them, and it's that one's almost. I don't want to say it's more like Star 80, but it's like I guess it would be less Sunshine Noir and like more whatever Star 80 is.
Yeah,
Like, is
it's
Star
true.
80
I
a
think
biopic? Like I don't know if Star.
Yeah, I don't know what Star 80 is. I don't think anyone knows what Star 80 is. I don't even know that Bob Fosse knew what Star 80 was. I think he just had to do it, which is probably the most disturbing thing about it.
I know.
But yeah, it's there's definitely movies that sort of are on the line. Well, you know, there's no investigator in Sunset Boulevard, which I don't know that I consider like a Sunshine Noir because it's just a noir.
But
It's
it's
pretty
adjacent.
early.
It's adjacent.
Yeah, but it is. That's where it gets really funny. Is like I can't say any of these like seminal canonical noir movies or Sunshine Noir movies because we couldn't talk about Sunshine Noir without those
with
movies.
XYZ,
you know?
yeah. Another one that came to mind is Jackie Brown.
Yeah,
Because
Jackie Brown.
is like but it's funny because like Jackie Brown, like I 100% think it has the sunshine element.
Yeah.
Okay, and it almost has a full noir element to it, but I don't know if it succeeds fully for me as a noir film.
Yeah, well,
If I was gonna
I think that's why
categorize it.
I think that's why Sunshine Noir is sort of in between. That's why you can
Yeah.
call it a Sunshine Noir because it's not exactly a noir film, but it also like Jackie Brown like is so emotional was what I love about it. You
Yeah.
know, like that's part of the thing that makes it so fun, and you just love Pam Grier. And
I think that's actually my favorite of his movies, of Quentin's movies, is Jackie Brown.
yeah, it's definitely it. For a while, it was mine. Now I'm really all in on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but.
Actually, Reservoir Dogs is my favorite, but Jackie Brown is like a second. But
Yeah.
okay, this is terrible because everyone I talk to that loves Jackie Brown, sorry everyone, tells me how much like they love all the De Niro stuff. And I just want I only want a Pam Grier edit. Like,
Yeah.
I just want the Pam story.
Yeah.
I just want to see what that would be like as a movie, just Pam.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
I love Pam.
she's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
they all the De Niro stuff is amazing, but the Pam Grier, I mean, the ending is just so good.
It's
Anytime I think
sad.
about it, I just think about
It's sad.
Up on 110th Street. Like that's the first thing that pops into my head is her driving in the car, you know,
Yeah.
and that love story is so great.
So okay, so Sunshine Noir, it needs to have the Sunshine LA element. Like you said, like there can be like Florida Noir, but it just takes on like a different feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no rain in a Sunshine Noir.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, because like that would just make it a noir. I feel
Yeah,
like.
totally. But I think that it's sort of like the oscillation. I think what makes the Sunshine Noir is also this oscillation of moods and stuff where noir is so it's so much, we know what it is. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
rainy, it's dark, it's foggy, it's all these things. And I think that a Sunshine Noir can have those noir textures, but then it also has to have the bright sunlight where everybody is like sweating and
Blinded,
getting
yeah.
sunburned.
And you're like getting blinded by
Yeah,
it too.
exactly.
Like it's just like, oh my God, it's like, can the sun ever end? And then the June gloom rolls in and you're like,
Yeah.
can the June gloom end, please?
I know. Well, when we were shooting this movie, we were sort of counting on it being so sunny all the time, and then it rained for so long. And it was really confusing as I was talking with the DP, or it was raining the whole week leading up to the last week of prep, so leading up to shooting. And the DP, Chris Ripley, and I had to have a conversation where I said, "What are we going to do if it's not sunny? Like, what? How does
You're
this?
just gonna have a straight up noir.
How does he change? How does it change this movie?" And he said, "Well, then maybe it'll be like 7. I don't know."
There you go. That's one thing about like when you're actually shooting a movie, like you have to roll with the punches and you have to roll like with whatever God gives you that day. You have to do it. If it's snowing, you got to take it all of a sudden.
For sure. So that's what we did, and it was sunny, and it also rained a little bit too. So you know,
got
we
a
have a
little
nice
bit.
mix, but I think it definitely feels like LA. Another sort of Sunshine Noir, which is, again, maybe this is a Sunshine Noir, maybe it's not, but a movie that we watched a lot is Straight Time, the Dustin Hoffman
Oh,
movie.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's Ulu Grossbard. It's from the 70s. It's like a really amazing American 70s movie.
I love amazing 70s movies, so I can't believe this one has like slipped under my radar.
Well, it's also amazing because when I think of the 70s, like American cinema in the 70s, and I think about the way that locations felt, I always think about New York and that sort of being this gold standard of movies that really felt like New York and really captured the energy of the city. And in an interesting way, Straight Time is sort of like that for Los Angeles, where Dustin Hoffman plays a guy who gets out of prison and he's trying to like
I love Dustin Hoffman.
be normal. He's amazing. Well, you should watch this movie immediately because I think you'll really like it.
I bet I will. I mean, I hear Dustin Hoffman, I hear like noir, and I hear 70s,
Yeah.
American 70s cinema. That's like literally, I think my favorite. I was thinking about it recently. Like the decade that I love the most is definitely the 70s. I don't know. There's just like this rawness to a 70s movie, and I feel like that kind of lends it to it. And that makes me think also about Sunshine Noir. Like these movies kind of span decades. They don't just, it's not like a decade specific genre.
Definitely. There's lots of things. It's when I was looking this up and reading various writing about Sunshine Noir, one of the there was some article in Art Forum, and they said that the first Sunshine Noir was Maya Daren's Meshes of the Afternoon, which was shot right in this neighborhood in Hollywood, and Kenneth Anger's Puce Moment, which are both shorts, and they're art films, and they are on the same timeline as regular noirs. But I love that there was this idea that even there, like, I think what's nice about suggesting that those two are the start of Sunshine Noir is that it asks for some rearranging of the ideas. It asks for some like deconstruction of the ideas.
Well, because like Kiss Me Deadly was another one that I saw, which was brought up to be Sunshine Noir, and it's funny because like I would almost consider that just noir.
Same.
And maybe it's because it's shot in black and white, and I think that's also like one of these differences. Is like whenever I think about a noir film, a noir is like a strict noir is shot in black and white, in my opinion.
Right.
It's in the name.
Right.
It's literally in the name. But like then you get like those crime noir, and crime noir is like some of them are black and white, some of them are color. Sunshine Noir, like I almost feel like color is necessary a little bit. Maybe not.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that. I was like, is Stanley Kubrick's The Killing a Sunshine Noir?
That's exactly where I was about to go because that's like one of my favorite, The Killing and then Doctor Strangelove, my two all-time favorite Kubrick movies.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, is that a Sunshine Noir because of like the whole story? But does that take place back east though?
No, it takes place here.
Does it really?
I mean, it's shot here. I don't know. I can't remember if
who
it takes
knows? Who
place.
knows?
But I know
rewatch
that.
it now.
But I also feel like those are like Kiss Me Deadly is insane because it has that weird, vaguely sci-fi ending. You know,
The atomic thing, like what's going on there?
which is awesome. But so that makes it different from other noirs. But I think it's too early. You can't. It's too much exist in the real timeline of noir when that was an invention that for you to
almost
make
like
it a subgenre.
proto Sunshine
Yeah.
Noir. But like The Killing too, it's like it's so hot. I think even they keep on commenting like how hot it is and like how they're sweating and
Totally.
how it's like they have to get there to that day and it's hot in the car and it's hot in his apartment and when they're waiting and he's running around the streets. Oh my God. That's just Sunshine Noir. But I think color is necessary. If I was gonna be the ruler, the authority,
Right.
I would say a color film stock would be necessary, or
Yeah.
I guess digital.
Yeah,
these
well,
days.
that's I think why I like Sunshine Noir is because there is no hard rules on it.
You
Everybody
don't have
sort
me
of
as the authority.
and no, listen. If someone wants to step up, I'm definitely will entertain their. If someone wants to write a
The
MFA
definitive
paper
rules,
on
the
it,
definitive
yeah,
rules of Sunshine Noir.
I would be interested in reading it for sure. I love when people do stuff like that, but I also like that it's sort of unknown territory in a way. What makes a Sunshine Noir? There's several different theories about it. And is it just that the sun is there? Because then most movies have the sun, you know?
But also, like, I think a Sunshine Noir, like, when I think back to these movies that we've talked about, do any of them have scenes that take place at night? Like, in the dark? That's, like, one thing. Like, is it all majority daytime scenes?
Well, I think it's the juxtaposition of daytime and night. Because, Mulholland Drive, for example, has lots of bright sunlight, but then it gets really dark. And there's lots of sort of dark car crash and when they go to Club Silencio and all that kind of stuff, killing of a Chinese bookie, same thing. Lots of daylight when he's taking meetings, but then when he goes and does the assassination, it's at night.
All the bad stuff's happening at night.
Yeah, exactly.
All the good stuff's happening during the day.
Exactly. And I think that's the idea. That is sort of the idea of Sunshine Noir to me, is this idea of all the bad noir things and underbelly and seedy underbelly stuff comes out into the bright daylight. And as a result, it's even more jarring because you're not seeing it
At
where you
nighttime.
expect it.
Yeah, like in the rain and in the sleet. Yeah.
I think that I'm looking at my list of other Sunshine Noir movies.
Did you come across any like movies that people said like definitely were Sunshine Noir that you're like, I don't think so?
Well, it's hard because
it's like this fluid genre. So someone could just be like, oh yeah, this movie is Sunshine Noir.
Yeah, I also like hot takes. I like when people say,
yeah, I do too.
Meshes of the Afternoon is a Sunshine Noir. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing.
No, I love when someone just has like an out of pocket take, and I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Why they can't just come with the take and then like drop the mic and leave? Like they have to give me like a little bit because I have a lot of questionable takes.
Yeah,
I definitely do. Like I fully admit that. But they're fun and they're interesting, and I like to think them.
I agree. I like if someone wants to make an argument for a movie that I don't think fits into that genre. I'm happy to listen to it. I even have one hot take for today that I was thinking about.
Tell me.
It's almost too hot to say because like it's
not in this room.
It's so off base. But it's another movie that was on our skincare inspiration list that everyone got across departments, which is Todd Haynes' movie Safe.
Oh.
About Julianne Moore becomes allergic to everything in the San Fernando Valley. And it is so strange. And it's like, influenced by 2001 Space Odyssey. And it's a disease movie of the week, sort of like camp. But at the same time, there's this really overpowering unseen enemy that's coming for this woman. And you don't know if it's in her head and you don't know if it's real. And she's trying to figure out what it is.
Okay, so I like that. So it has the investigative part. It's in the San Fernando Valley.
Yes.
And it has an unseen enemy. I like that term because all of these movies kind of do have like this like lurching, like you don't know who it is, like whether it's like a killer or it's an investigative murder or whatever. You just don't really know. So it is an unseen attacker.
Definitely. There's this thing that is chasing our protagonist and we can't see it and we don't know what it is, but they are feeling it and we are feeling it all the time. And
it's anxiety.
Yeah.
It's like giving strange anxiety. That these movies also like they're like twisting the rope almost. Because like, you get so tense with them that like eventually you have to snap and unravel.
Yeah, that was the other word that we talked a lot about with the movie was anxiety thriller. Is that something that you feel stressed out when you're watching, but you're having a good time?
It's like a roller coaster. It's like you're like really don't want to get on, or maybe you do want to get on it, and you're on it, you're like and then you're like, oh, I loved that. Let me go again.
Yeah, and that was another one of the list, which is not a Sunshine Noir. It's a snow noir. Maybe is Fargo, and we talked about that all the time.
Yeah, because Fargo's an interesting one because it's definitely not Sunshine Noir, and is it noir? Like, I don't know. I don't really know, but Fargo is like its own element.
It kind of is. It's sort of like Minnesota Noir because it's like, right?
Oh
it's
God,
this
I
guy.
want to see like a Minnesota Noir list now.
Yeah, I think it's Fargo. I think that's it. Oh, and then what am I talking about? Also, the other movie that Sam Raimi made, A Simple Plan. Is that it?
Yes. Oh my God, that is total. Is that Minnesota also?
Yeah, I think so because they grew up together.
With Bill Paxton in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
my God,
that's a
that
total
movie.
that's a total
Oh
Minnesota
my God,
noir.
that movie's so good.
Yeah, that movie's amazing.
Oh my God, okay, we have 2 movies on our new. This is our new genre. You
I
guys,
know.
Minnesota
I
noir.
know.
Move over, Sunshine
By the
Noir.
way, 2 people who are from Los Angeles like breaking ground on Minnesota noir. By the way, I'm sure that after we are done with this, I'll Google Minnesota noir and there'll be a comprehensive
The
list
whole
and
thing.
in-depth writing and analysis of the genre.
But not Sunshine Noir. Sunshine
Yeah,
Noir is
no.
like up in the air.
Well, Sunshine Noir, lots of people say things, they just all disagree, you know?
That's also the weird thing is like, who are these people that are saying these things and why are they disagreeing?
Well, I don't think that anyone's aware of all these different points of view, except for maybe you and I, because we've taken the
We've
time
researched.
to look into it. But yeah, because certain writers think it's only LA. Certain writers think Body Heat in Florida.
Okay,
is
but certain
one,
people also think like the San Fernando Valley is not in LA, so they'd be like, oh, that's like just like
Well, those people are wrong.
yeah, I know they're wrong. We consider LA as LA County, just so we know.
Yeah,
Just so we know.
that's totally incorrect. And so I'll take anyone's take and I'll take anyone's point of view on any of this. But the Valley is part of LA. Don't give me a break.
Duh. Hello.
The Valley is one of the most LA neighborhoods that there is. Yeah,
Oh my God, what do you think is the most iconic LA neighborhood?
that's impossible to say, and
It's a
I'll get in
loaded
trouble if I answer that. But I personally have been really.
Oh, you got Saved by the Bell.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, then I'll just keep that to myself.
You can tell me if you
No,
want.
I was going to say I've been really fascinated by Hollywood because Hollywood is, to the rest of the world, is an idea. And when you say Hollywood, they think of one thing. But the reality of Hollywood as a location and as a neighborhood is totally not what they are thinking about.
It's so true. And also because like they think that Hollywood is at the beach.
Yeah.
Because they have like this idea in their mind that like things are all cut up. And then also Hollywood has this like, this is Hollywood. And then when you really get to know Hollywood and you really walk the streets and you really like learn the history, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah. And people also think Hollywood, they think, oh, Hollywood, that's really nice. That's really fancy.
Yeah,
like
go walk the
everyone
streets.
there must be really rich. And then you like go out in Hollywood and you're like, this is not nice. This is not fancy.
My biggest advice for people that want to move to LA is do not move to Hollywood. Everyone I know that moves to LA first goes to Hollywood and then they regret it. They're like, why did I move here? Move to like the east side of LA. Move to like Eagle Rock or Highland Park.
Yeah, those are nice.
places.
Those are nice neighborhoods. We like all those neighborhoods.
Hollywood is a little rough and tough and like you're really going to be right in it. Move to Mid-City.
Yeah, love Mid-City.
Yeah, just be wary of Hollywood.
But I like Hollywood because it sort of has a sort of New York in the 70s feel where,
oh yeah, oh my God, like where the trash is like rolling around on the streets.
it's
Yeah,
deeply chaotic and you don't know what's going to happen. And
that is definitely Hollywood. So that is all the time that we have for today. But Austin, is there any final thought that you'd like to share with the audience?
I'm sure that when we stop recording, I'll think of something that I really want to add. And so I'm looking at my scattered notes and they're making no sense to me about what I should add.
Oh, that's totally fine. But tell me a little bit about skincare. How did that come about?
Well, it's just a movie that I have been working on for a couple of years, and we shot on location in Hollywood. So, which everybody said don't do under any circumstances.
And you did it.
And we did it anyway, which turns out they were right, and we shouldn't have done it, but we did, and we're here, and yeah, and it's a little bit of a sunshine noir, and it's anxious and it's a thriller, but I think Elizabeth Banks is obviously so funny, and there's some very funny parts in it. So I hope that in the future, when people are considering sunshine noirs, they will consider skincare as well.
It'll be on the list.
Yeah.
On all the letterbox lists.
It will be on a list. It will be on. As we have seen, all of these lists are
Different movies.
disagree. Totally different genres, totally different movies. Not even movies in LA. But I think there will be a list. There will be a sunshine noir list that features skincare, and maybe it will be my letterbox list. But
Oh yeah, let's do it. So thank you to my guest, Austin Peters, for coming onto the show. If you'd like to keep up with Austin, you can do so on his Instagram at Austin P. Showham. And make sure to go check out Skincare, which is in theaters starting August 16th. I'm Gala Avery, and this has been The Gala Show. The Gala Show is brought to you by Avery.com. This episode was executive produced by Roger Avery and produced by Gala Avery. Music composed by Andy Milburn. As always, I'm your host, Gala Avery. Copyright 2024, all rights reserved. Despite me sharing the same last name with this charity, I don't have any affiliation with it, besides the fact that the issue is very near and dear to my heart. Did you know that in the United States, 2.7 million children currently have a parent in prison, and it's estimated that 10 million children have experienced parental incarceration at some point in their lives? I was one of these kids, and as an adult, I am really grateful to be able to give back to Project Avery. Their mission is to build leadership from within by supporting community through programs such as mentoring and outdoor education, and also to remove the stigma surrounding having a parent that's incarcerated. You don't have to feel alone. If you know a kid who could use these resources or would like to donate money or time to the charity, please go to Project Avery, that's AVARY.org, to check out what this amazing charity is all about. Again, that's projectavery.org. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart.